What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. I'm going to show you how to install the Antigravity 8-cell battery, which is really our primary battery of choice on any of the single-cylinder bikes, and then show you how to modify the existing battery case so it will fit. It's a little larger than the stock battery, and there are some fitment issues. And we'll give you a little mod on the fuel system for the new bikes as well. If you've experienced how hard it is to remove the quick disconnect on the new chassis bikes, I've got a little modification you can do right here. So this single tab ear clamp on the connector as it comes off the bottom of the pump, if you clip that off, you can put a screw type connector on there, which is much easier. And let me point out something really important. This is a plastic elbow here, and don't put a lot of force, don't put a lot of lateral side forces on that when you remove this clamp, or else you can break that off. I know of people who have done that. So just get yourself some nice side cutters and very carefully get in here and cut this off. Before you remove this, there's fuel pressure here at that line, and so what you can do is remove the fuel pump connector. This is the electrical connector. Start and run the bike until the engine dies. That will alleviate and bleed off the fuel pressure, and then there won't be any when you remove this. Next, you can come along with a tie strap, slip it underneath the wire loom here, catch the fuel hose. Don't grab any of the other wires if possible. Just get the hose, and then you want to move the hose so it touches here to the back of the starter solenoid. Once that's sort of found its place, you can cinch that up, and that will hold the fuel line right there in its spot, and it'll be ready for you each time you remove and then take off the fuel tank. Remove the battery cables from the battery. Remove the starting solenoid from the holder. Using a flat blade screwdriver, release the pressure that holds the tab for the upper battery tray. Remove the stock battery. Carefully snip away any zip ties that hold the wiring harness. Remove the OCU. Remove the 8mm bolt that holds the tray in place. Pop off the tip over sensor. At this point, you can remove the upper battery tray. The battery tray has these side bolsters, which are the exact size of the OEM battery. It fits in there perfectly. The new battery, the Antigravity 8-cell, will not fit, and that's because the sizing here you can see of the cases, the anti-gravity is just a little bit longer. So to get it to fit, we'll need to remove this little ledge right here. One method to remove that is to go at it with a sharp pair of tile snips. Another method is to use a sharp razor knife, and you can slice away at that ridge, make some cuts into it. Then come back in with a pair of pliers, and then you can flex it, bend it, and it'll snap off. You'll be left with a little bit of residual material there, and you can come back in with that razor knife and then just whittle that away and trim that off. The last step with that is I'll take the razor knife out, and then I'll just sort of file that. You can just carve that little ridge away until it's flat and flush. Or you could come in with a Dremel or any type of grinder and just remove it that way. Once that's all out, you can put your battery in and test fit it. Make sure it's flush to the bottom. The next step is to cut away this side end of the battery holder. You can do that with a sharp pair of tin snips, or use a power tool like a Dremel to grind that away. With the end removed, your tray will look something like this. As this is a race bike, we want the battery to be very secured into the tray, and so we're going to use some of this Velcro to secure it down. And note that the positive and negative side of the battery are as indicated, and so you'll make sure that your positive and negative side of the battery are oriented the way they need to be before you do your final placement. To get our adhesive to stick best as possible, we'll put a little alcohol on a rag and then clean the sticker edge of the battery as well as the tray. The fastening tape that we use here is the 3M dual lock, and it has just the right amount of thickness when the two are placed together to take up any clearance gap that might be there between the battery and the top of the holder bracket. The little foam pieces that come with the anti-gravity battery are a little too thick, and so this thickness is just the exact right amount. You can place your battery in the corner and fit it in. Top of the tray fitted back in, you can see that there's enough clearance here on this side to account for the battery strap. Over here it might be a little bit tight, so you could make a mark of where you need to trim away a little bit of that. You'll end up with something that looks like that. So with that done, you're ready to put the top tray back in and resecure everything to it. If you like, you can come back in and replace any zip ties that were cut. On the new battery, because the posts are towards the front, and on the old one it was on the top, and you had this angle which came over and allowed you to fasten it like that, we want to straighten out this bend. My technique is to hold one end of it in a set of adjustable jaw clamps and then come in with another one and use that to bend it out. Another method is to use the inside jaws of a pair of lineman pliers to flatten this out. Once they're flattened, they'll look something like this. Reinstall your bolt. Reinstall the solenoid. Before you put your tank back on, do a double check, make sure everything is secure and ready. We use a 12 through 14 millimeter fuel injected rated band clamp, and then we'll put a little grease here on the hose before we slide that in. Now, whenever we need to remove the tank, we take it loose here at the clamp instead of trying to fool with the quick disconnect, which is hard to reach underneath the tank. So with that, we are done. Double check your work, go out for a test ride. Let us know if you have any questions or comments about this mod or anything else on your bike. Like, subscribe, go out, get some adventure.